Hola, Matthew here, and welcome to this month's property report for the local area. We will look, as usual, at the news and views of what's happening in the local market, together with the facts and figures. But first of all, an exciting piece of news. You'll probably recognise the sofa from previous videos, but you may not recognise the window. We're actually in a brand new office. We've expanded the team and to help our many clients who kindly place their trust in us. But more about that later. That's just explaining why the scenery is a little bit different. Anyway, let's dive in with some of the local facts and figures and then look at the news and events that are affecting property owners in the local area. Let's start with the figures today from Lanjaron. Last month, there were 71 properties available for sale with an average asking price of 100,000 euros, or the equivalent of 706 euros per square metre. In Orgiva, there were 61 properties available for sale with an average asking price of 230,000 euros, or just under 1,090 euros per square metre. Moving over to Lecrin Valley, there were 78 properties available for sale last month, with an average asking price of just over 112,000 euros, or 683 euros per square metre. Now, one of the questions I get asked often from these videos are how do those figures compare to previous months? People don't want to go back and watch the last 12 months videos. Of course, I understand that. So if you'd like to know that for your area, just drop me a line, send us a message, I'll post a comment, and I will send you through the full report so you can see what's been happening in the markets over the last 12 months. There's some quite interesting statistics within that, and I will do a video on that in the near future after we get this quarter and the moving the office out the way. So what's happening in the property market locally and internationally? Well, one of the first things that we're going to look at is the number of golden visa buyers. There were actually just under 9,000 purchases over 500,000 euros qualifying for a golden visa last year. That equates to just over 10% of the entire foreign buyer demand in Spain. As you can see from this graphic, the number of buyers that have been purchasing over 500,000 has increased quite dramatically in the last 3 years. It had hovered around 5 to 6% of buyers between 2012 and 2019, but in 2021-2022, it started climbing rapidly. So the number of wealthier buyers in Spain has gone up quite considerably in the last couple of years. Possibly no surprise, but 34% of those buyers actually bought in Andalusia because it is a very, very popular destination for foreign buyers. And in addition, in Andalusia, 42% of the buyers who were spending over €500,000 were actually from outside of the EU. This does include British buyers as well now, of course. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to get updates on more information and videos as we make them. But also, let us know your comments. What do you think about the news in the market at the moment? Energy certificate changes. Now, this is going to have a massive impact potentially on any homeowner in Spain. I would say in particular in the Granada, Costa Tropical area and Alpujarras where we live, because currently there's an EU directive which is suggesting that by the year 2030, all properties must have an E energy rating, and by 2033 that must be a D rating. The draft document is already going through the European Parliament and is expected to come into force in 2025-26, so only a couple of years away. Now, this could have a drastic impact for people because many properties, particularly in this area, are not built to the modern energy efficient standards and have quite low ratings. For some, that's actually what they want. So, for example, an open fire or a log burner would be considered far less energy efficient than, for example, underfloor heating or something of a similar type. The impact this is going to have for homeowners could be quite dramatic. The The quoted idea for this is to ensure that homeowners want to invest in the energy efficiency of their home because it will add an increase to the value of that, and homes that don't have investment in their energy efficiency will devalue quite considerably. Now, personally, I'm not so sure on this because I think the character and the location can add an awful lot to a property rather than just the energy efficiency. Be interesting to hear your thoughts on this, whether that's something that's really important to you. New build properties, this is something that's been going on for a while, so these are often built to a much more energy efficient standard. But of course, properties that were built 50, 100 years ago were built in a very different style. Be really interesting to see what your thoughts are and how you think that might affect the market if you are unable to sell a property, for example, if the energy rating is low. UK driving licences in Spain. Finally, an agreement has been made between the Spanish government and the UK government to allow the exchange of driving licences. There's quite a backlog, as you can imagine, of people that were wanting to do this, and while this negotiation was happening, but finally we're there. Collective sigh of relief breathed by many of the British who live in Spain now. Do look out for another video coming from our partner Ola Assist and Tusao Paharas about the step-by-step process on how you can go about applying for this if you need to. What's happening in the global property markets? Well, if you take any interest in global property markets, you'll probably be aware that almost all global markets are currently in retreat. What we've seen really is the phrase goes, the froth has been blown off the top of the coffee in these markets, where people were pricing their property high to catch the market on the way up. That market's now stalled and left people overpriced. What that means is we're seeing asking prices coming down a little in most markets. For example, in the US, we've seen asking prices come down around 4.7% in the last 2 quarters. The UK and Northern European markets are following this trend with similar drops on initial asking prices. However, buyer demand has remained strong in many of these markets, and actually a shortage of stock, a lack of supply of properties to the market, is meaning that is holding prices at the moment. The main cause of this, of course, is inflationary pressures and interest rates rising. As central banks have had to increase interest rates, that makes the cost of borrowing more, and in turn means that buyers don't have quite so much spending power in their pocket. This is going to continue to have an effect, I think, over the next year or so as inflationary pressures are brought out of control. Many of the predictions from the World Economic Forum, for example, are that inflationary pressures will ease over the next 12 months, but that's still quite a long time if you're thinking of moving in the near future. What does this mean for you as a homeowner in Spain? Well, in essence, it just means that as long as you price your property realistically, then you will still be fine, and the market is still has strong demand. Overpriced properties are sticking. Buyers are a little more cautious. The euro is also starting to gain a little strength in some places, meaning that with exchange rates and interest and inflationary pressures, that kind of recipe just means that buyers are being a little more cautious on pricing at the moment. As you can see from this chart, some countries have been hit much harder than others, but Spain is still doing relatively well at the lower end of the market. If you want to see what our predictions were for this 6 months ago, do check back on our YouTube channel about the video, is there going to be a house price crash in the Spanish market? Well, that's what we put out 6 months ago, so maybe you could watch that and see what we predicted and see if we were accurate or not. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Legal documentation that is required when marketing a property. This is something we did a small video series of on our YouTube channel last month, and we've had a lot of feedback from that about some of it very positive, and thanking for the help and advice that people got from it, but also some very worrying stories of people who have asked agents for information such as the details in the nota simple, for energy certificates, etc., all the things that are legally required when marketing a property, only to be told that they shouldn't have them, they don't need to have them. In fact, We had one client whose feedback was they asked the agent they were looking at a property for the notice in play and was told, you don't need this until after you've bought the property. Well, that's seriously worrying for me because how do you know what you're buying if you don't actually know what the legal status of the property is? This is something, if you're looking to buy a property in Spain, you should very much look out for. Please, please do not deal with an agent who does not check the very, very basic information. This is a legal requirement. It's something they should be doing. Also, when it comes to selling your property, if this information is made available, you're more likely to attract a better quality buyer at a better price. Do check out the videos on YouTube for more information about this. That's it for this month. Thank you for watching, and if you have any other property questions or you would like to know anything more about the markets, don't hesitate to get in touch or drop us a line, and you never know, we might even make a video especially for your question. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.